Welcome to this week's edition of William & Mary Television's Flat Hat Insider. I'm Tanner Russo.
And I'm Mary Kate Weinbrenner. Since 2004, college administrators have entertained the possibility of moving arts programs to a more central location on campus. This year, a new proposal has been submitted for an official Arts Quarter, a project to be completed in 3 phases at a price tag of almost $150 million. Currently, music, art, and theater classes are spread between Yule Hall, Phi Beta Kappa Memorial Hall, and Andrews Hall. The new proposal would consolidate all arts programs into a series of buildings surrounding and including PBK. If approved, Phase 1 would include a new music building to the right of PBK, a proposed $52.3 million project, while Phase 2 would allow for a $59.5 million renovation and expansion of Phi Beta Kappa Hall. The final phase would include new art studios as well as the construction of an entirely new building to house the art and art history classes, a projected cost of $32.1 million. The plan has been submitted for the approval to the governor. Official authorization would not come until July of next year.
At last, it has been decided. Wednesday evening, a packed auditorium of William & Mary students cheering at exactly 116 decibels decisively proclaimed the natural sciences the most valuable academic discipline. For now, anyway. The Raft Debate, an annual event hosted by the college, features an imaginary shipwreck that left 3 professors stranded on a desert island. A humanist, a natural scientist, and a social scientist, all of whom duke it out to persuade students that they are the survivor worth saving. This year, Assistant Professor of Hispanic Studies John Riafrio represented the humanities, Biology Professor Dan Crystal represented the natural sciences, and Associate Professor Thomas Linneman represented the social sciences. A devil's advocate, played by Associate Professor Sarah Day, argued that all 3 should stay on the island. Each survivor was given 7 minutes to make his case, followed by 3 minutes of rebuttal. Professor Crystal, dressed as Charles Darwin and donning a fake white beard, was pronounced the member of the most valuable discipline based on a sound meter measuring the decibel level of applause for each professor.
Well, fall break is right around the corner. If you're one of many students looking for a ride home to the Washington, D.C. area, you might be in luck thanks to the Student Assembly. Last Tuesday, senators voted to amend the Washington, D.C. Fall Break Act to fund a second bus to and from Williamsburg and Washington, D.C. over fall break. The Senate previously allocated up to $1,500 for one 55-passenger bus, which sold out quickly and placed many students on a waiting list. 80 students on the waiting list were notified of the SA's decision to fund a second bus. In other SA news, Senator Jimmy Zhang introduced the Voting Rights Act of 2013, which, among other things, would allocate up to $740 for posters advertising Election Day, and literature with nonpartisan information about each candidate in this year's 3 elections. The Senate also unanimously passed the Support Watson-Mason Debate Act, allocating up to $370 for AV equipment, microphones, and podiums for the upcoming campus debate between Republican delegate Mike Watson and Democratic candidate Monty Mason on October 9th.
Well, unless you've been living under a rock recently, you're probably aware that it's been an interesting week on Capitol Hill. On Monday, Congress failed to pass legislation to continue funding the federal government after much sparring between House Republicans, the Democratic-controlled Senate, and the White House over the House Republicans' decision to tie a continuing resolution to measures that would have defunded Obamacare. We are now days into the first government shutdown in 17 years, but how is the shutdown affecting life here at William & Mary? Because the college receives a small percentage of federal funding and that funding is protected, William & Mary's day-to-day operations will remain unchanged. However, if the shutdown continues, researchers at the college may face some funding challenges. Director of Sponsored Programs Jane Lopez says the college will not be able to apply for any new federal grants during the shutdown, but that researchers who have already procured federal support will be able to access funds throughout the shutdown. The college's Director of Financial Aid, Ed Irish, indicated that this year's federal student aid programs will also be unaffected by the shutdown. That's all the time we have for this week's episode of the Flat Hat Insider. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter for all the latest campus news. We'll see you back here after fall break.